Good day, Body20 Network, and welcome to the first edition of MasterChamp Top Tips, a video log that I'll be releasing on a monthly basis, addressing some of the most important aspects of EMS training and the way we really should be doing it in the network. Obviously, all to help our new as well as existing trainers fine-tune their daily training experience with our clients. The first topic that I want to bring up is one that we often don't place enough emphasis on in our daily sessions, and that is the topic of spotting. We can all learn 1,001 different exercises to do and put together the most crazy and epic exercise routines imaginable, but it all means nothing in the eyes of the clients if we're not engaging with them in a professional and a passionate manner. Essentially, there are 3 types of spotting which we need to be making use of in our daily sessions. Number 1, visual spotting, otherwise known as acting, or the way we display and show the clients how to do their exercises. Number 2, verbal spotting, or the way we describe and give reinforcement and feedback on the exercises. And number 3, tactile spotting, the way we make use of touch to correct a client's form or encourage more muscle activation in the muscle groups that we're trying to target with our different exercises. With all of these different techniques, there are obviously a few do's and don'ts with regards to spotting. So I want to show you guys a couple of clips now. The first 2 clips are a couple of don'ts. Each clip will break down to see exactly what went wrong in that spotting during that routine. Here's clip number 1.
Okay, squat in 3, 2, 1. And up. Squat in 3, 2, 1. And up. Good squat in 3, 2, 1.
So, what was wrong with this clip? Number 1, she didn't display or even explain to the client how to do the exercise correctly. Number 2, she yawned. Really? Along with this and her monotonous counting and general lack of interest in the session, she had the client looking around the room, wondering if this is actually for real. And number 3, she didn't use her space around the client effectively, preferring just to stand behind the device and watch the lights, losing interest in the client completely. Now, on the opposite end of the spectrum, let's have a look at the next clip.
Okay, you ready for the next contraction? Are you ready? Now, we're going to make this one proper. 3, 2, 1, squat, 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 squat. Come on, man. Come on. We're going to squat better than that. Ready for the next contraction? 3, 2, 1, let's go. Squat, squat, squat. Let's go. And up.
And so, what was wrong with the second clip? Quite obviously, it was too much. As motivational and inspiring we want to be, shouting belligerently at the client in hopes of inspiring confidence or diligence is obviously not the best way to go about things and is more likely to make them feel afraid than motivated to perform the exercise correctly. Also, no real direction or correction was used in that technique either. It was just display of passion and enthusiasm, which can be very misdirected in our sessions. And so, now let's have a look at an example of a far more professional approach to acting and spotting during an exercise routine, even with the same exercise. See as follows.
Okay, we're getting ready on the next contraction. We're going down into a squat. Ready and down, nice and easy. Good, and up. Getting ready for the next one. Ready and down. Good, and up. Nice, doing well. Carrying on the next contraction. Ready and down. Good, form and up.
And so, what did the trainer in this clip do very well or do correctly? There are a couple of things. Number 1, she displayed the exercise form very clearly in her client's field of view, which allows them to copy her actions. Number 2, she used the space around the client very well and even offered a reaffirming touch on the shoulder to inspire confidence and comfortability. And number 3, she gave continuous and positive reinforcement back to the clients on their execution of the exercise, which will help your clients learn good form a lot faster. All of these habits are what we want to reinforce in our daily sessions and our daily habits. So now, let's have a look at a couple more don't clips.
So the next exercise we're going to do is a lunge. I want you to look exactly what I'm doing and follow. Okay, so on the next contraction, we're going to go down like this, and then we're going to come back up. Okay, cool. Ready? 3, 2, 1, and down like this, and back up. Cool. Give me another one in 3, 2, 1, and down, and up.
And so, what was wrong with this clip now? There are a couple things. Number one, although my counting down to contraction was effective enough to prepare the client for it, my form was absolutely terrible. My knees were clearly going over my toes, and I was even falling over to the point where I had to use the machine to stabilize myself so that I don't fall over, which obviously doesn't inspire confidence in our clients. Remember, clients will often copy you exactly, and so if you are displaying poor form of the exercise, they will often display poor form of the exercise as well, which will create problems in correcting the technique in future sessions. Rather spend time to make sure your technique and their technique is right from the start. Now, let's have a look at another don't clip.
On the next contraction, we're going to do a row and up, good, and down, come more forward, ready, and row up, good, and down, ready on the next one, and up, good, and down.
And so, what was wrong with this clip now? Again, there were a couple things. Number one, she didn't display or explain the exercise correctly and rather tried to force the client into the correct position while the contraction was already happening. Number two, she was way too close in his personal space, and the way she positioned herself wasn't the correct way to position yourself when spotting a row or a reverse fly as follows. And number three, pulling his head closer to her chest was quite obviously the icing on the cake. All right. A more professional and effective method of spotting for this exercise would look more as follows in the next clip.
Alright, so you're going to give me a reverse fly in 3, 2, 1, shoulders back, chest up, squeeze the shoulder blades together for me and bring it back. And again in 3, 2, 1, perfect, and bring it back in 3, 2, 1.
And so, what did the trainer do well now in this correction clip? Number one, she was standing beside the client and continuously preparing him for the contraction phase. And number two, she was using tactile spotting in the center of his back to encourage the client to squeeze his shoulder blades together, which is obviously activating the muscle groups that we are trying to target in a row or a reverse fly position. And so the last don't clip for today involves tactile spotting and the no-go zones for touch for correcting form, which obviously we know as the inner thigh, the groin, the buttocks, the armpits and chest, and the neck, the face or head, or actually anything above the shoulders, which there is no point in touching because there's no way we can correct exercise form touching any of those areas without making the client uncomfortable. Have a look at the following clip.
Okay, so the next exercise we're going to do a stomach crunch and bicep curl in 3, 2, 1, and up in 3, 2, 1. Alright, I just want you to lift your head up. Perfect. In 3, 2, 1.
And so, what was wrong with this clip? While the trainer's display of the exercise was technically correct, we should not be touching the client's neck, chin, face or head in any manner to correct their form, which obviously she used here. And also, laughing at the client at their poor form is also very much a no-no and is not going to inspire confidence in future sessions. Here's a better example of how the spotting should actually go in a circumstance such as this.
Alright, we're just going to do a bicep curl combined with an ab crunch over here. In 3, 2, 1. Nice and easy. Awesome stuff. I just want you to look at me. Keep your chin away from your chest. Head nice and neutral like this. Ready? In 3, 2, 1. Head nice and neutral. Awesome stuff. Perfect.
In a situation such as this, it was easy enough to correct the client's form both visually and verbally and just show and explain to them the way they need to correct their technique. Sometimes this is simple enough and tactile spotting doesn't have to come into play and should be used sparingly to avoid invading the client's personal space in situations like that. Please be sure to read and reread the section on spotting in your Body20 instructor's training manual so that we may more effectively analyze the techniques which are more suitable to the approaches of spotting, both visually, verbally, and tactilely. Have a good day. 3, 2, 1.
Okay, so squat in 3, 2, 1. Am I supposed to say something?
2, 1.